You know what? We got a really interesting one about the possible future of the 10 Rings. Check it out.
Hey, Campea crew. This is Jonathan from very snowy Sonora, California. And my question is actually regarding a topic on today's show about where we could next see Shang-Chi in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I actually had a thought when you popped up Thunderbolts. I was wondering, what do you think about the Thunderbolts actually having the 10 Rings as the villains? We know for a fact that once at the end of Shang-Chi that the 10 Rings was stated that they will be returning, and we saw his sister actually trying to basically remake the 10 Rings into whatever she wants. So I was wondering if maybe those could actually be the villains of the Thunderbolts.
Thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And you know what's really, because you weren't here, Rob, but yesterday one of our topics was, where could Shang-Chi show up next? Because, of course, good Canadian kid, Simu Liu, he made the comment while being interviewed. He said, Shang-Chi could be popping up sooner than you think. So we went through the list of all the upcoming movies and where could he pop up? I think we kind of landed on probably the Marvels, considering what we consider to be a tie between Ms. Marvel's bangles, the 10 Rings. We saw the 10 Rings logo in Ms. Marvel, all that kind of stuff. But that brings up, and I'm really interested that he called that in, because a few weeks ago, I and probably some of you heard some whispers and rumors like we hear a million of every day, but we did hear some whispers and rumors about maybe 10 Rings being the villains of or should we say the antagonists of Thunderbolts. Now, because the caller brings up a very, very legitimate point. At the end of Shang-Chi, when, like at the end of the Eternals, we are accustomed to seeing the Eternals will return, right? So where the Eternals going to be returning, we'll talk about that another time. But at the end of Shang-Chi, it did not say Shang-Chi will return. It specifically said, after the post-credit scene, the 10 Rings will return with Ronnie Chang and Victor Drago. And Anna and I rewatched the original 2 Creed movies last night. Man, what's his Florian Mentou?
Yeah, something like that.
A freaking monster should be his name. That dude's a beast. He played Razor Fist in the first one. But it ends with Razor Fist and Ronnie Chang's I Speak ABC standing next to Shang-Chi's sister on either side of her. She's the new Mandarin, if you will. And there were some whispers. I think and I'm sure everybody else just kind of dismissed those rumors. But it's an interesting question, because when I sit down and think about all the places, I mean, they did say the 10 Rings are going to return. Okay, where? I don't expect a 10 Rings Disney Plus series, especially not now with Bob Iger saying, hey, we got to slow our roll a little bit on how many of these things we crank out.
I see this picture. I want to see this.
I hated the idea of this, not hated, but I had no interest in the idea of this movie. When they released the actual lineup and the cast, then I was like, yup, I'm in. I'm very, very excited for this movie now. But, because we talked before about, could Abomination be the villain? But it's like, what would any of those people do against Abomination? Could, who was the guy you were hoping for, Ray?
Sentry.
Sentry. Could Sentry be the guy? But that, I don't know that Sentry really fits there either. Something like the 10 Rings. Like you got this conglomeration group of these eclectic characters in the Thunderbolts. Maybe it's a full organization they're going against. Maybe now the American government has their eye on the 10 Rings. I mean, look, I am not saying that I have any insider information about the 10 Rings being a part of Thunderbolts, nor am I saying that I actually believe that that's going to be the case. But when you bring that up and say, well, it says they're going to be returning, where can they return? All I'm saying is that wouldn't be a bad place to put them. Anyway, Rob, the question is posed to us. Could we maybe see 10 Rings as the antagonist in something like Thunderbolts? And if not, let me pose to you, where would be a more logical choice for them to pop up?
Well, first of all, I love the idea of the 10 Rings being an antagonistic organization, kind of like Spectre in the James Bond movies. That this is a global organization that have their fingers in many pies. And now, obviously, they have new leadership, new ways of doing things. Maybe they become more fierce, maybe more dangerous, and they do something that that poses a threat on a global scale, but it's not an Avengers level threat. And the Thunderbolts, it's the kind of thing that the Thunderbolts as a new team, like we're forming this team. What's her name? What's Julia Louis Dreyfus? Valentina. Blah blah blah.
Countess.
Countess. Valentina is look. We need a way that we can combat these things without press. No one's going to know who you are. There's going to be no Avengers. There's no Thunderbolts Tower, and they're
Thunderbolts Tower.
They're specifically formed to go after organizations like the Ten Rings. And by the way, you have I love the idea that Shang-Chi's sister's leading them, because I love that, and maybe Valentina and her have beef, like history.
Well, I love the line that she has. One of the lines that I like a lot of her lines, but one of the lines she has in Shang-Chi, which is so great, when she's talking to Awkwafina, she says, "If my father won't let me into his empire, I'll build my own." And then Awkwafina's like, "Hell yeah." That was a great line.
Yeah.
And to see her sitting then on that throne with Florian on one side and Ronnie Cheng, that was a pretty cool visual.
I love Ronnie Cheng.
Yeah,
I love his stand-up. I love him. He was great. And I think the Ten Rings is something Marvel needs. More of a grounded threat that's terrestrial as opposed to extraterrestrial gods and monsters,
Now, that does, of course, bring up the question that I think it was last week that we found out the Walking Dead's and the Invincibles Stephen Yeun is going to be in Thunderbolts. Now, there was no official word on whether he was going to play a familiar comic book character, whether he was going to be a new character, whether he was going to be a protagonist or an antagonist. Could he be some people are speculating that he could be the villain, maybe. So I'm not quite, since we don't really know what he's going to be in that. I mean, we're kind of left still kind of speculating, but let me ask you though. Let's say they're not in Thunderbolts, which they probably aren't, but let's say they're not. Where would be a logical place? Like, they clearly have plans for them. They put on screen, the Ten Rings will return. And I don't think they just mean that for another Shang-Chi movie. I don't think the sister's going to become the enemy of Shang-Chi. Where would be another logical place for the Ten Rings to pop up?
Kang Dynasty, because the Ten Rings themselves, even though Shang-Chi has them, maybe Kang goes because maybe a different variant
already has the Ten Rings or some other reality,
something, and goes to. I mean, that would be a thing that because Kang would need help. If you're creating a dynasty, that means you have followers. And maybe Kang says,
well,
hey.
Remember, I think dynasty is just their change of words from council.
Sure.
So I think instead of calling them the Council of Kangs, they're calling them the Kang Dynasty.
But I mean, they do want to build a new dynasty on the earth or whatever, and they need help. We sure, I guess you could bring all the council with you, but you the idea of a dynasty that's going to last thousands of years, or something like that. I would think that they would need organizational help, and maybe Kang has had, maybe Wenwu knew him, and he doesn't know about the changeover between Shang-Chi and, well, it comes back down to get those 10 rings or whatever, because we don't know where they're from.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about that? I mean, at the end of Shang-Chi, they say the 10 rings will return, but where's a good place for them to return? And could one of those places be Thunderbolts, maybe? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. If saving more and spending less is one of your top goals for 2023, why are you still paying insane amounts of money every month for your phone bill? Switching to Mint Mobile is the easiest way to save this year. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know I made the switch over to Mint Mobile a while ago. The process couldn't have been easier, and I can't believe that I am spending less than a third of what I was spending on one of the other major carriers before. By going online only and eliminating the traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All plans come with unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily in minutes with eSIM. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea.